Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and welcome to the 100-mile real-world highway fuel economy test of the 2020 Ford Mustang GT convertible. So for those of you who are not familiar, we run these 100-mile real-world tests in order to get an accurate fuel economy reading of what these cars can do cruising at 70 miles per hour average on the highway. We do that because the EPA fuel economy test actually averages 48 miles per hour, and we think this is a more real world what you might see if you go on a road trip with one of these cars. So we're gonna head out, we're gonna show the fueling of the car, the test, and the results at the end. So let's hop out, take a quick look at this Stanger. I've come to quite like the looks of this car. I still kind of prefer the pre-facelifted option, but this newer Mustang still looks good. It looks tough. The silver provides a very crisp, clean look. Now this is the Performance Pack 1 option on this convertible, so we're dealing with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, 275 19s in the rear, and 255s in the front. So that'll certainly affect fuel economy somewhat as well. If you want to see more on the car, we've got a full review as well as an audio system test. Both of those links will be in the description when they're live. If not yet, stay tuned to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, helps us out a bunch. You can check out some of our other videos and keep an eye on more Mustang content. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on over to that Shell gas station. We're going to fill up using the 3-click method. And we're gonna use the same pump both right now and then when we get back on the test. This car is very empty right now, only 35 miles to empty according to the gauge. So that should give us a nice, good, positive fill here. We will be doing this test with regular gas because the Mustang GT in 2020 does not require premium fuel. It does say in the manual that 93 octane is what was used to get the optimal horsepower figure, but the engine runs perfectly fine on 87, and so we will be using that 87. Okay, so there's our first click. So we're waiting 10 seconds in order to do a low flow. And there we go, that should be a good and full tank. Put in 12.9 gallons. Must be a 14, 15 gallon tank. It goes quick in the Mustang. Okay, so we're going to reset our values here on our GPS. We're also going to reset the values on the car tachometer. And we've got our HVAC control set at 74 auto. So the fan's gonna be a little loud for you here right now, but we want it to be consistent. And off we go. I'm going to drive conservatively to the highway and probably try to keep it in 6th gear. There should be no reason I shouldn't be able to leave it in 6th gear the entire time around the highway. For drive mode, I'm using normal. There's no sort of eco mode in the Mustang, so normal's about the closest thing we've got. So the Mustang is a very comfortable cruiser. This non-Magna Ride suspension actually rides really well. So it'll be cool to get it up on the highway here and experience it for an hour or two. Give me a chance to listen to the sound system, evaluate it at highway speeds, a lot of different kind of music. Just evaluate the car's cruising presence in general, including with that soft top. Okay, up to speed here. We're going to cruise at 73 miles per hour indicated by GPS, not what the car says. We want a true 73. The reason we do 73 miles per hour is a little bit twofold. One, we want to try to average a moving average speed of 70 miles per hour, or right around there. So doing a few miles per hour over that helps us achieve that. The other thing is, when we tried cruising right at 70 miles per hour, not only was our average low, but we also felt like a sitting duck on the highway. So doing 73 allows us to kind of keep up with the flow of traffic a little bit and achieve a good average speed. So we're gonna try not to draft too much. We're gonna try to stay kind of in our own relative own pocket of air here. Keep the speed set. Looks like speedo is 1 high, which is totally fine with us. Other observations right now, there's actually a decent amount of sort of just ambient road noise. You can hear that engine rumbling along back there. It's not an active exhaust, so it's just kind of there all the time. There's some wind noise as well, but not really wind noise from the tops, more wind noise from the windows. But I'm gonna settle in. I'm gonna move the camera up here so that you don't kind of get annoyed by my constant head shaking and fast motion, and we'll touch in about halfway through the test. So we are just over halfway through the trip. Car is indicating 26.4 miles to the gallon after 58 miles. And the odometer is actually smack on accurate with the GPS as well. Hopefully that's focusing okay. Observations thusly. Pretty comfortable. These seats are not quite as comfortable after an hour or so as they are initially. They've got a lot of initial squish, but maybe not the right sort of support and padding for longer trips. And I've noticed that on previous Mustang road trips as well. That exhaust drone hasn't really gotten old. I kind of don't mind it still. The sound in general is not too bad. Maybe it's because the last road trip I took a few days ago was in a Nissan 370Z, so Nismo, and that was quite loud, so that could have something to do with it. But overall, steering wheel is really comfortable, good amount of leg room. It's a good tour. It's a good cruiser car. So we are going to soldier on, and we will report back when we get back. We ran into some traffic thanks to a very surprising rainstorm that kind of just rain that just came on through and doused the area. So we were at 27.2 indicated when I came up to the traffic here. We've dropped down to 27.1. As of now, our average speed for the test is 70.2 miles per hour, but we'll see what speed we're able to keep up from here to the end of the test. We're only about, I think, 7 miles from our exit, 7 to 8 miles. So it's unfortunate that this happened, but we're gonna press through and see what we end up with. We seem to have made it through that okay. Average speed is now 69.4 miles per hour, so a little lower than we'd like, but didn't seem to lose too bad in that stoppage in the rain. So a bit unfortunate, but we're gonna just see what we get anyway. Our mileage is back up to 27.2 indicated, which is what we had when we got slowed down. Final highway impressions of the Mustang GT. Like I said, I'm not super thrilled with these seats. The support just seems to be a tad lacking, even though their initial comfort is quite good. They're pretty squishy. They are good for hugging you around corners though, so I suppose being a sporty car, it's fairly fitting. Noise never really got old to me. The tire noise isn't bad and drony. The exhaust isn't even really that drony either. You hear it, but it's not an annoying sound. You could hear the wind pretty well coming through, or not the wind, the rain coming through pretty well on the soft top, so that was amusing. And we are down a quarter tank of fuel after just 100 miles, so you'll definitely be filling up at least every 400 with the Mustang, which really isn't too bad. I thought it was going to be worse than that. This motor actually seems to be getting pretty efficient fuel economy, even with this 372 axle ratio that we've got in the rear. Boy, it's so hard not to just ease and blast on the throttle here, because it just sounds so good. My habit is just to really lay into it. So when we get to the pump, we're gonna go back to the same one we used to fill up. We're gonna fill up with the same method, and then calculate our fuel economy by dividing the total miles traveled indicated by GPS, which actually is very close, within about a tenth, just under 2/10 of a mile of the car's reading here. Pretty spot on. Okay, 108.4. Okay, so 3-click method there. You can see we took 3.979 gallons. We're gonna hop in and calculate that out. 108.4 divided by 3.979 gives us, would you look at that, 27.24, which is smack dab on what the car indicated. How cool is that? So you are getting 27.2 miles to the gallon after 100 miles of driving at 70 miles per hour here in the 2020 Mustang GT Convertible. And just to remind you, we do have 3.73 torsion rear axle and the GT Performance package with those summer tires. So EPA is only 24 with this car, and we achieved 27. Not too bad for it, and that was on 87 octane fuel as well. So, hope you guys enjoyed those results. I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. Let's do a quick check and see what our total range would be then, estimated. Times 16, give us 436 miles on a tank. That's really quite good. I'm impressed. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the real world testing here, even though it got a little hairy out there with the rain. Take it for what it is and what it'll be. If you want to see more on the Mustang, keep an eye out for our full review and our sound system test, and check out a lot of our other videos. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.